what is a reversing entry and why do we need them? Okay. To explain this, let's say you have a retail business. Now, let's say you're trying to close your books out at the end of the year. Now, you pay your employees every 2 weeks, okay, or bi-weekly, all right? So what happens is that your employees worked the last week of December, and they're going to work the first week of January, and those 2 weeks are combined together to make a paycheck. Now, you aren't going to pay those employees on the last week of December. Alright? However, you still owe them money. Just because you haven't paid them yet doesn't mean you don't owe them the money. They worked for you that week. Regardless of whether you pay them that week or not, they worked for you that week. So, you're going to have two accounts. Wages payable, which is on your balance sheet, and wages expense, which is going to be on your income statement. Now, what are you going to do with your income statement? At the end of the year, you have to close out every one of your revenue and expense accounts on your income statement. That way you can formulate your balance sheet at the end of the year. Okay? So, if we're going to close out wages expense, we have to debit this and credit wages payable. And then, when you start up the first week of January, the very first day of January, what you're going to do is you're going to debit wages payable for what you credited it on the last week of the last year, and then you will credit wages expense to reverse what you did last year. Okay? And that's what you're going to do. And you have to do this in order to properly close out your books at the end of the year. Otherwise, things are going to look really funky and it's going to mess up everything. So, because you have to close out all your revenue and expense accounts on the last day of the year, you have to have these reversing entries. Alright. If you have any questions, you can leave them down here in the comments below. I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned.